the video.
I saw the video. I guess it was a local news helicopter or something like that. That was a really big church building.
Yes.
You know, churches come in all different sizes and every different faith and every different denomination has big ones and little ones. This looked like a really big one, as in hundreds of people there. And the fire that I saw, at least a third, if not 45% of the rooftop was burning.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
open big flames. So none of this makes any sense. So we need to find out what's going on. But it's yet another violent attack on a house of worship.
Yeah, and the pattern seems to be ramping up right now, and it's very, very disturbing.
We're going to talk to Congressman Bob Onder around 7:35, and I want to get his thoughts on that as well, because some of the watchdog groups are saying 850% increase in attacks on houses of faith at this point. All right. A federal mediator is now involved in the Boeing strike. Negotiations resumed today in an effort to end the 2-month-long strike by about 3,200 members of the local International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers Union. The union has already rejected significant pay increase offers, and they say they want a deal similar or equal to what Boeing workers get in Seattle, where the cost of living is much higher.
Yeah, you can't have Seattle pay because it doesn't cost, Seattle money to live here.
Right.
It doesn't. I mean, the numbers just don't work.
Right. And Seattle makes a completely different product.
Also, it's a very different job out there.
Yeah.
They're working under basically car manufacturer types of conditions, while we're under I guess maybe car manufacturer, but more like for Ferraris.
Sure.
Where it's a very low rate, very slow, lovingly handcrafted machines, and it's not the same.
Not the same thing. All right. Okay, it looks like at least some of those Doge cutbacks, turns out those are not going to be permanent. Yeah, you're going to find this interesting, and by interesting, I think this is going to irritate you, Gabe. Hundreds of laid off federal employees are being called back to their jobs.
Come on.
Yeah, here's the story.
Workers in the General Services Administration were given the chance to return to work after being laid off during the Trump administration's DOGE cuts earlier this year. The GSA manages government buildings, and its workforce has been understaffed for months. Furthermore, the administration has walked back plans to slash its real estate portfolio. An official said because of understaffing and internal turmoil, 131 leases expired without the government actually vacating the properties. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Come on.
So I'm wondering just how real was the whole Doge thing? I don't question that the administration wanted big cuts, but I think the show became the show.
Yeah, it feels that way now because, not only are they kind of messing with how, what the fact that the cuts even happened. We're not getting legislative backing for some of the other proposed cuts. So none of these things are going to go anywhere. That's kind of how it feels right now.
So do I blame the Trump administration for this? No. Do I blame Republicans in Congress for this? Yes. Absolutely.
Now, and also, let's not discount, though, the possibility that a lot of these things are being sabotaged from within the bureaucracy itself.
Oh, without a doubt.
So the idea that they are, quote unquote, understaffed, they've been understaffed for months following that initial round of layoffs, that could simply just be people doing, not even a work to rule, but a work slow down in order to say, oh, no, we're understaffed. We can't get things done anymore.
Hey, the deep state, the administrative state, that's a real thing.
That's how they operate.
Yeah, it is. All right. Speaking of, amid the struggle to find a way to keep the government funded before tomorrow's deadline, South Dakota Congressman Dusty Johnson, he's a Republican, was on Sunday Night in America on Fox. And he said he's got a proposal to prevent the government from closing.
My bill, along with Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, would just say, listen, if you need a little extra time, we're going to hit pause. We're going to give you 2 more weeks, a 14-day CR. Spending doesn't go up. It's not a win for the Democrats. Spending doesn't go down. It's not a win for the Republicans. It just gives you a little more time to do your gosh darn job.
Oh, language.
Whoa, gosh, take it easy there, buddy. Gosh.
Easy. Oh my.
This is a family show. We can't abide such language.
It was up until that. Jeez. Oh man, it's like the whole world is going to heck.
Hide your kids.
Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Sorry about that, everybody. I apologize.
Yeah.
Man,
you got to scrub those sound bites better.
Yep. Now keep in mind the U.S. House has passed a short-term resolution to keep the government funded until November 21st that just keeps the spending at the current levels, which, by the way, is at the Biden administration levels.
Yeah, and that's a death spiral level, by the way, because that's the post-COVID levels, which we knew were exorbitant to begin with.
Right. So at some point, listen, I'm fine with the government shutdown. We're so close, Gabe. We're so close.
Please.
We might get it this time. We might get it.
Wrap it in a big red bow, just like a new Lexus.
Again, we'll talk to Congressman Bob Onder about that here in just a little bit. Okay, I am hoping to get one of the lawyers involved in this on the show next week, or this week, actually. The city of Brentwood's government is one step closer to stealing the property of several businesses.
Okay, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, late last week, a judge ruled against the small businesses along Manchester Road. They were suing to stop the city's eminent domain effort.
Oh, more eminent domain stuff.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we're talking about.
So the government is working to seize the businesses and redevelop that part of Manchester with a hotel and new office space and different retail businesses. The businesses are being represented by the Institute for Justice, which says that it will appeal.
Yeah. Yeah, just because you want economic development to happen doesn't mean that you have the right to take other people's property to do that.
Because what we've got here is a classic example of what eminent domain has become.
Yes.
And this has basically, that part of town is old and dirty. We want something new and shiny.
Right.
So just go in and take the property from the people who have it now, throw them a little bit of money, take their property against their will and give it to somebody else. So we're going to take it from this private property owner and we're going to give it to this private property owner and we're going to facilitate the theft.
Right. And of course, when you ask them, well, why would you do that? What makes you think you have the power to do that? They say, well, it's for the good of the city.
Correct. That's what they argue. And this goes back to the Kelo versus New London case, the Supreme Court, which horribly decided that cities can just say, well, it's going to generate more revenue and it's going to be. Now they're citing things like, well, the sidewalks are correct. These are old businesses. These are locally owned, local businesses that are in an older part of Brentwood.
Sure. It is what it is.
But that's their private property. If you don't have private property rights, you don't have rights.
Right. And here's the interesting thing too. They'll cite things that they're responsible for as part of the dilapidation of the area. It's like, look how bad the roads are over there.
Right.
It's like, you're in charge of the road.
Yes.
That's you, government. And then they're basically just, it's like, well, it's an old part. And we can get this new company to come in and do things. Just, no.
Yeah. Basically they're going to build new shiny stuff. It's going to generate more revenue, but they're probably going to hand out God knows how much in tax incentives and public financing of it. So
we've seen how that works out.
Yeah, this is,
it's disgusting.
From a city planner's perspective, we'll look at all these great things. It's going to be something that's going to benefit the city. It is horrible government to say you don't have your rights anymore because we think somebody else will do something cooler with your stuff.
Eminent domain is for roads and like power stations, things that are going to benefit everybody very specifically in a very unique way.
Right.
And
as a last resort.
Absolutely. Otherwise plan to put your road elsewhere. Plan to put your power plant elsewhere.
The developer wants to come in and work out a deal and buy up all the property. More power to you.
Oh, yeah.
But the bottom line is the business has said, we don't want to sell. This is our property. This is our stuff. And city government says, no, you don't have that right anymore. That is absolutely horrific by the city of Brentwood to do that.
Disgusting.
All right. New York City Mayor Eric Adams announcing on Sunday that he's dropping out of the race. He's not running for re-election anymore.
That's going to change the landscape of that race.
Huge. There's about a month before the voters head to the polls. Socialist Zoran Mamdani reacted to the news in a video posted on social media, vowing to beat former New York governor and independent candidate Andrew Cuomo, like he beat him in the Democratic primary, at a Hindus for Cuomo event in Floral Park, Queens last night. The candidate says the primary was different than a citywide election.
This is now a much larger election where more New Yorkers will vote. And I am telling you, and I'm out there every day, New Yorkers do not support what Mamdani supports.
Wait a minute. So Cuomo is the good guy in this race now? That's how bad it's gotten?
That's how bad New York is right now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. We need a Cuomo to save us again. So
how bad do you have to be that Cuomo is your knight in shining armor?
That's really wild work over there in New York. But I will say this, with what's his name, backing out of the
Adams.
Adams, yes, with Adams backing out, I think that changed the landscape in favor of Cuomo significantly.
Probably,
So our fears of, or actually maybe our wish for the socialists to actually, show themselves to be ridiculous, incapable of running a government, that may not actually happen in New York.
Yeah. All right. The Cardinals end the season by getting swept by the Cubs in Chicago. Final score on Sunday was 2-0. They finished 78-84 on the year. It is likely next year's team is going to look very, very different than the one we saw this year. They're going to clean house.
Yeah.
You're only going to see a few Cardinals back.
Man, it's going to be a whole new day.
You're like, well, what's team going to look like? Look at what Memphis AAA is right now. That's probably your Cardinals next year.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. All right. The MLB playoffs are set. 3 of the NL Central Division's teams are in the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
3 of the 5 teams. So this weak division ended up having the best showing in the playoffs this year. Brewers have the number 1 seed in the National League, and they get a bye in the first round. The Cubs play the Padres, and the Reds play the Dodgers in the first round, and those series start tomorrow. And after their last second win over USC, the Illini move up 1 spot in the college football rankings. They're now ranked 22nd in the nation in both the AP and the coaches polls. They literally scored on the field goal as time expired.
Oh, man.
That was quite a game. I watched the whole thing. Mizzou, still undefeated at 5-0. They move up a spot in both polls as well. The AP ranks the Tigers 19th, and the coaches poll now has them at number 18.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to. So make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. That's 800-439-7851.
The left, for months now,
one by one,
have been begging for a civil war.
Every caller gets their say.
We got to stop and not put these officers in situations where they feel like they have to overreact.
And whether you agree,
We think you're politically wrong.
I do not need athletes to tell me.
You're invited to join the conversation.
Thank you for canceling all your games. Now I get it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Town Hall. News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Barry Bennett. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meets with President Donald Trump at the White House. It comes after his UN speech Friday, in which he defended his nation's determination to crush Hamas in Gaza. BBC correspondent Lyle Duche has this preview.
He made it absolutely clear that he was going to stand up in the face of this growing momentum by countries who have been recognizing a Palestinian state, because the only relationship which matters for Prime Minister Netanyahu, the only relationship which really makes the difference to him, is this meeting in the White House face to face with President Trump.
The prime minister said late yesterday that Israel is working on a new ceasefire plan with the White House, but details are still being sorted out. President Trump is expected to share a new proposal for ending the conflict today. Iran executed a man accused of spying for Israel, the latest in a major wave of executions. Iran identified the man as Bakhman Chubaisel. He wasn't immediately known in Iranian media reports or to activists monitoring the death penalty in the Islamic Republic. The execution came as Iran vowed to confront its enemies after the United Nations reimposed sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program this weekend. The European Union followed suit Monday, imposing similar sanctions on Iran. Europe has won the Ryder Cup just like everyone expected. The Americans rallied from a 7-point deficit to have a flicker of hope. Europe needed only 2 points to retain the cup. Ludwig Aberg in the fifth match got the first one. Matt Fitzpatrick, because he had Bryson DeChambeau down by 5 holes at 1 point. Shane Lowry put his name in Irish for the half to secure the cup. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-794, AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
October just 2 days away now, but boy, fall temperatures nowhere in sight. We are stuck in a warm and, yep, you guessed it, dry weather pattern. Sunny skies today, hot this afternoon if you're in that full sunshine, 89 for the high. We'll slip back into the 70s by about 8 o'clock tonight, heading for a low of 63. Mostly sunny and hot again Tuesday afternoon. The high bounces right back up to about 89 again. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you missed anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, reserve, and protect retirement assets. And I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I tripled off there yet! Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up.
The greatest cup of coffee the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, she's back. Yeah. The screeching Marxist voice that voters kicked to the curb last year wants her old job back.
Yes, that's what we needed, what we wanted. I'm sure.
I'm kind of rooting for this to happen. I'm just being a guy who makes his career in conservative media. I'm just thinking content.
Yes, absolutely.
Does Corey Bush provide boring content?
No, not at all. It's all very exciting, very interesting stuff. And also, you can raise all kinds of money off of any Corey Bush quote. Just grab one and say, these are the type of people we're fighting against. Send us some money so we can keep people like her out of office and out of power. And many thousands of dollars were donated to the Republicans because of Corey Bush.
Yep. Let's get to that here in just a couple of minutes. It is 7:06 right now. We are joined by the political soothsayer and fortune teller Tim Jones.
The one, the only.
You can hear him every afternoon with Chris Starks from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I want to get to Corey Bush re-entering the political thing here in a second, Tim. But let me start with Governor Kehoe, as promised, signed the new congressional maps into law yesterday afternoon or last night. He just kind of looks like not a real ceremony. He just signed them and announced it. And so there are some challenges to this. Now, I'm going to tap into both your politician and your lawyer background. Do any of these legal challenges have a chance to actually have some teeth in the courts?
Well, good morning, Mike, Gabe, Jerome. Yeah, so because of the philosophical makeup of our courts, and I hate to bring that up, but it's true, we have partisan courts just like every other place in the union. And people say, oh, but Tim, we have this nonpartisan court plan, and I say bupkis to that. It's not nonpartisan.
Take it easy. Oh my goodness, this has been brutal
I know.
today. My goodness, man.
No, don't cuss on this radio show. That's right. So we have a plan that allows judges to pick largely to pick judges, and until we have a decade or more of Republican governors, they're not going to affect the generally partisan lean of our court system to the left. I'm not saying all judges all across Missouri are liberal. I'm not saying that at all. But the places where we have this nonpartisan court plan, which is many of the large urban suburban areas, St. Louis, Kansas City, I believe they passed it down in Springfield and Greene County. And our appellate courts and our Supreme Court. Okay. So I say all this to remind folks that all you need to do is look at the past track record, and the higher courts in our state tend to bend over backwards, upside down, and crossways to reject conservative center-right leaning initiatives and referendums and things of that sort, and to somehow preserve the ones that lean to the left. How about that? It's just true. Just look at the stats. So, Mike, it all depends on what the courts do in this situation.
That is bupkis.
Hey,
it is a conversation for another day. But suffice it to say that when we have initiatives that want to protect and preserve life, want to protect and preserve our Second Amendment rights, want to do things like congressional redistricting that would favor Republicans, they tend to have all sorts of legal problems. And guys, when it's abortion on demand, when it's Medicaid expansion, those just somehow sail right through the court system and end up on the ballot with ballot summaries and language that tend to favor the left. Oh, I don't know how that happens. Yeah, it's because the courts are partisan.
Yep. Good morning to Gabe here. So Mike mentioned it at the top of the hour here. Corey Bush is getting back into politics. What do you make?
God bless America.
Yes. What do you make of this attempt? Is it going to go anywhere, or is it really just going to be for the lulz?
Well, being that she is a professional community organizer, I think it'll go pretty far, actually, because that's apparently the professional sport of these big urban areas. I mean, look at Chicago, New York, Detroit, St. Louis. And it's sad, though, fellas, isn't it, that there is still any market whatsoever, any interest whatsoever in Corey Bush? I would ask people, what did she do? She campaigned after she got elected. She then campaigned. How long was she in office? Was she in office for 4 years?
Two terms. Two terms. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she campaigned for 4 years or 5 years, I guess, if you count her campaign. She never stopped campaigning. She had constituent services work. Maybe she had great staff and they did some constituent service work, which is also very important for a congressperson. But, this just shows how far the Democratic Party has fallen and continues to fall. Republicans have their own set of problems. Republicans often can't get out of their own way. They can't stand prosperity, it seems, and they tend to be the stupid party. But on the other hand, the Democrats are now the insane, godless, Marxist heathen party for sure. I mean, look at the things they stand for. They stand for basically destroying the United States of America. They haven't learned their lesson. And Harry Enton, of all people, I know you guys know him. He's the CNN pollster. He showed this in full Technicolor last week. Democrats are still getting destroyed by Republicans on the issues that Americans voted for last November. We're almost a year out, and Democrats have not recovered. You know why they haven't recovered, guys? Because of people like Cory Bush and the rest of the squad. They don't want to recover. They believe this stuff. They believe that the United States of America should be an open borders nation. They believe that criminals should just be left to their own devices and just, run helter-skelter all across the nation. And they want to continue to bankrupt the United States of America. This whole shutdown plan, which I love that people really aren't getting that worried about it because they shouldn't be. It's all because Democrats want to put all this crazy. We're not talking anymore, guys, about nibbling around the edges with the two parties on maybe a slight difference between the size and scope of government. They want to bankrupt the nation with these insane, ridiculous spending plans, and that's what the shutdown's all about. That's what Cory Bush is all about. And I think we've hit rock bottom in the St. Louis region. I don't know that we've bounced back up yet, but hopefully we've hit rock bottom hard enough that enough sense has been knocked into the heads of St. Louis City voters and the rest of the surrounding area that makes up the 1st Congressional. And they don't even consider sending Cory Bush back to D.C. to do what again?
Okay, so here's my follow-up on that. And I'm glad you said you set it up that way because, Wesley Bell and Cory Bush probably are not going to vote that much differently, honestly. Obviously Cory Bush is louder. She's Marxist. She's anti-Semitic. What does this say? I mean, basically, what will that primary vote say about Democrats in the St. Louis area? Because you got the choice between Wesley Bell, who by all accounts is just kind of there. I mean, he's not a mover and a shaker in Congress. Cory Bush is obviously a very loud voice. So they're going to vote about the same. So what difference would that make for the St. Louis region?
Yeah, Mike, it'll show how, and I'm being serious, not pejorative. It'll show how anti-Semitic and Marxist they are. Let's just be honest. I mean, those are the funny, because you're right, Mike. If you look at their voting records, I bet it's 90, 95%, maybe even higher as far as similarity. But do people of the St. Louis region want some kind of shrieking anti-Semite representing them in Congress, or they want somebody like Wesley Bell, who's not going to vote that much differently, but he's going to work a little quieter behind the scenes with his Republican colleagues, which he may now eventually have 7 of and not just 6 of. So he'll be the one man left standing. Does he want to work with the remaining 7 Republicans, especially if they end up continuing in the majority, to help maybe bring home some things? I'm not promoting pork projects, but bring home some stuff. Or do they want to send Cory Bush back there and have St. Louis continue to just be completely and utterly ignored and be one of the biggest laughing stocks of the Midwest?
Tim, earlier you mentioned the big separation between the left and the right in America, where the left is continually showing the American people that they actually don't want the same things out of America, and and even among the reasonable people, let's say in the Democratic Party, their silence is kind of allowing the far left to drive their whole party. Now, my contention was that this could lead to a historic holding of the House by Republicans, to kind of buck the normal trend of the president's party losing the House in the midterm. What do you make of those prospects right now? Just if you had to choose what the outcome and predict what the outcome would be.
Yeah, Gabe, I think it's very possible to buck the trends once again. Look, Donald Trump has upset the apple cart about 1,000 times over. When it comes, how many times have we said over the last 10, 12 years now? Well, the trends would indicate blah, blah, blah is going to happen in the next election. And they've generally all been completely and utterly blown out of the water, right? All of these historic trends and all these regular occurrences that are supposed to happen, for instance, the one we're coming on up now, right, is the midterm of the party in power. So, yes, historically, with very few exceptions, although there have been a couple, one most recently was when Donald Trump was a first-term president and his first midterm. Remember, Republicans lost the House, but they retained the Senate, and they actually, I think, picked up a seat or two. That was a historic bucking of the trend. Gabe, this time around, I think it's very possible to hold the House and buck a huge historic trend for a number of reasons. Number one, the redistricting, right? Gerrymandering. But, Democrats made gerrymandering a professional sport about 50 years ago. So we're just finally catching up and making things more fair. We're actually just equalizing these areas. Well, Republicans let Democrats engage in unilateral redistricting warfare and did nothing about it. So I would argue the playing field is actually just being leveled. Secondly, and most importantly, what you just referenced, Gabe, Democrats have lurched incredibly far to the left. They've jumped off the cliff. They're not just hanging on anymore. They've jumped off it, wondering if they have a parachute or not as they're plunging down towards the abyss. And I think Americans are continuing to reject the poison that they're selling. The open borders, criminals running rampant in the streets, lawless lending. And even though Republicans have a long way to go to right the ship, I love that they're standing their ground in this shutdown, in this Schumer shutdown, which is what it is. Because let's remind everyone, see, the national networks won't remind people of this. That's why we have to do it here. The U.S. House of Representatives passed a funding plan to fund the government like several weeks ago now. It is Chuck Schumer and only Chuck Schumer who is stopping that in the House. And how crazy is it, fellas, that here we are a few years later, and John Fetterman is the only sane voice in the Democratic Party.
And he's the one who had a stroke.
Yeah.
Just also, I want to point out, I just got called out on Rumble, so I want to thank 101 for keeping me candid, because I referred to Cori Bush as a Marxist and being anti-Semitic, and he called me out. He said, "Mike, don't forget racist. She's also racist."
Yeah, that's right. As well.
So thank you, 101, for correcting me.
Probably a godless Marxist.
Is there a kind? Exactly. All right, Tim. Is it a little bit early in the day? You guys know what's coming up? At least going to be addressed today on the Tim Jones and Chris Harp show.
Yeah, today's Monday, so we of course do a roundup of all of the international news that occurred over the weekend, and it seems like there's always a lot these days. We have Jim Talent at 4:25, and then of course we'll round out the day and catch all the Red State headlines at 5:25 with our own Susie Moore. So great show, 4 o'clock, 4 to 6 p.m. Tim Jones and Chris Harp show.
Thanks, Tim. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, fellas. Talk to you again soon.
All right. You saw the news over the weekend. Another house of worship attacked. We don't know why yet, but we'll tell you what we know. We'll tell you what we don't know as well.
Don't try to make me stop. Inspiration. You have so dark. It is a nation. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop
Mo and Company.
Going into the weekend, we were on the doorstep of a government shutdown. Has anything changed? We'll discuss the latest Monday, plus Virginia Cruda, Paul Kurtman, and AI expert Mike McClary.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on NewsTalkSTL.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for Patriot Heating and Cooling. When your home's comfort is on the line, you need a team you can trust. That's why I recommend Patriot Heating and Cooling, St. Louis's trusted team of HVAC experts. These pros make customer service their number one priority, whether it's a summer breakdown or winter emergency. Booking your service couldn't be easier. Just visit callpatriothvacstl.com or call 314-527-2722. Patriot Heating and Cooling. Comfort every day the Patriot way.
Hey, firearms enthusiast. Looking for a family and veteran-owned shop with a wide selection of products and services? 51 North in Bowling Green. DG Firearms has been your one-stop shop for custom ARs, Cerakoting, laser engraving, gunsmithing, suppressors, ammo, and reloading supplies. DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green. And online at dgfirearmsllc.com.
The Washington Guard presents the 4th annual Patriots Banquet, the price of freedom, honoring real American Missouri. Hear from featured speakers Doug Giles, founder of Warriors and Wild Men, and Marine Colonel Jack Jackson, Harrier jet fighter pilot. Master of Ceremonies Jamie Allman will host this inspiring evening. For tickets, visit thewashingtonguard.com. Use code NewsTalkSTL for $10 off.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, the Michigan church shooting, and it was beyond that. Let's talk about what we know. Let's talk about what we don't know. This one's, I mean,
this one's bizarre.
It's really, yeah, it really is. And we're not saying that in a way that makes light of what happened, but it really is by definition here. 7:21 right now. 4 people have been killed, and that does 4 people have been killed, and also the murderer has been killed.
Right.
8 other people are wounded in this Michigan church. Slaughter.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it was even, and he was intending apparently to kill hundreds of people. In there.
I think if he had his druthers, everybody in that church would have been dead.
And here, let's talk about what we know. Let's start there.
Yeah.
So we know that there is a 40-year-old man whose name is Thomas Jacob Sanford. He's the one who drove his pickup truck in through the front doors of the church, crashed into the church while they were having their service, and then opened fire, and then set fire to the church as well. As he was trying to escape, he was pursued by law enforcement, who apparently got there within a minute or two of the 911 call. So there were some officers nearby when that call came in. And then there was a gunfire exchange. No officers were hurt, but Thomas Jacob Sanford was killed by police. So here's like I said, what we do know is it's the Mormon church, the LDS church at how do you say this? It is Grand Blanc Township in Michigan.
Right. And that's not too far from I think the Detroit metro area. Is that right?
It's in that region.
The region.
Yeah, it's that region. So and so
about as far away as like West County is from the city center.
Right. And so here's the thing: is what we don't know is why. This guy.
There's no motive.
Yeah,
we don't have it yet. We'll say it that way.
So far, and we don't know anything about the personal life of this guy other than he was in the military. That may or may not be relevant. We don't know. But he doesn't fit the typical profile.
Not the new profile.
No,
not
what we're used to.
He fits like the 1960s, 70s, profile of basically a disaffected military person who has, who kind of goes wild and starts using their training on the rest of us.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we haven't had to deal with that in terms of public life for decades now. The most recent spate of violence has been particularly leftist political violence. I mean, that's just kind of the reality of it. So
this guy doesn't fit that profile.
He doesn't.
It may end up being that, but so far he doesn't fit it.
Yeah, I mean, the likelihood of a military person fitting the leftist, radical profile is really low, because people who join the military tend to be on the right. I mean, that's again, we're just talking about statistical realities.
Yeah, and I'm showing Gabe the video of when he set that church on fire. Now, again, all different types of churches come in big and small. This was a big one.
That's a big one.
And that fire, at least on the roof, I mean, I thought it was 2/3. I think it was most of that.
Yeah, it looks like most of the roof
of that church was
on
fire, and there were apparently 300 or 400 people in attendance of the service.
Right
there, and this is one of those situations where the actual faith, the actual denomination, doesn't matter.
No.
At
least not apparently.
Yeah.
Again, because we don't know motive.
As far as our reaction.
Yeah. In terms of our, yeah, sure.
Now here's he drove his pickup truck, which apparently had 2 great big American flags on. And I have no idea if that matters at all.
Right.
So just like after the last few murders, I think we need to take the exact same approach to say we don't have the answers yet before we decide, who it is that we're going to go after to hold accountable. Let's find out who that is first, if anybody.
Right.
And so we just, this is such, and you said the word bizarre, and I don't want people to think we're making light of it.
No,
but it really is by definition a bizarre situation. One, because Mormon churches tend to not be wrapped up in political stuff outside of Utah.
Right. Yeah.
They just don't tend to have those conflicts. And secondly, the fact that the gunman and the murderer here, he doesn't fit any of the profile that we're used to. And so I'm not going to say one of us, just like we don't know.
Right.
But it's a white guy, military veteran driving a pickup truck with American flags on it that decided to try to murder hundreds of people.
Yeah. And I think at this point we're doing our due diligence to not speculate because we don't know what's going on with this,
right?
Except for the fact that he very much intended to kill hundreds of people.
Yeah, he tried to kill everybody in there.
That's all we can say. Now, the thing that I found also fascinating was this idea that there were several incendiary, I believe, incendiary devices found around the building.
Yeah. So this appears to be planned.
Yeah, like just not just planned in terms of on this day I'm going to do this thing. Those things had to be planted there sometime prior to him actually driving the truck into the building. So
to make it even more confusing, the law enforcement there, which would be the ATF, the FBI, then obviously local police, they can't say for sure that that's what actually started the fire.
Right. Yeah, they don't know.
Those things might have not gone off. They found the devices.
Right.
But he apparently somehow set the fire after he drove through there in a different way.
Right.
And so we're getting questioned. Corporeal being, was he ex-Mormon? We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those possibilities. This could have been a very specific grudge.
Yeah. Very, very possibly. And then also you've got this situation where now going back to Charlie Kirk's impact with people going to church for the first time or going back to church for the first time, he obviously was not LDS. He was not Mormon. He was evangelical Christian. Whether or not that would have that Charlie Kirk effect on churches would have spread beyond just evangelical Christian churches, whether that would have spread to synagogues, whether that would have spread to Catholic churches, whether it would spread to Mormon churches, I don't know. But you've got this big giant call for people to go back to church
to rediscover their faith, essentially.
And then
or discover it for the first time.
Or for the first time, because synagogues have been living under this kind of threat for years.
That's true.
So we're now getting a taste of what Jewish people in this country have been dealing with, especially here in St. Louis, for quite a while.
Yeah. The requirement of having a congregational security detail is new. It's new to Christendom in America. And but I think it's something that we're going to have to start having.
Years ago at the church I was at, I was like on an ad hoc committee to talk about security, probably 15 years ago. And it was just kind of like, well, things are getting bad. Maybe someday. Well, some days now. And so there are pushes for there needs to be additional law enforcement security for churches. Is it the government's job to provide security for churches, or should the churches do it? I think the churches should do it.
I do too.
I don't know. I mean, I can just tell you a church. The last time I was a member and attended a church, which has been a while, I can tell you that if somebody tried to do something not even like this, they would not have been able to drive through because of the way the church was set up. But somebody came in the back, guns ablazing, he wouldn't have made it very long.
Right.
I can just tell you that. I was part of the security. He would not have lasted very long. He may have gotten a couple of people, but he would not have lasted very long. That was a church that was not afraid of guns, and one that didn't think guns were sinful in the hands of good guys.
Right.
So now I do think you're right. And a lot of sheriff's offices offer programs and partnerships with houses of worship to talk about, let us help you with your security and protection.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's not just a matter of having somebody with their head on a swivel at the back of the church with a pistol inside their jacket, inside the jacket. there's an understanding of security that has to go with. There's some training that has to go with it so you can actually be effective in doing that. So, yeah, I definitely want to encourage.
Now, are we going to get our government shutdown?
Please, oh please.
Or not? Congressman Dr. Bob Onder gives us the update at 7:35.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
October just 2 days away now, but boy, fall temperatures nowhere in sight. We are stuck in a warm and, yep, you guessed it, dry weather pattern. Sunny skies today, hot this afternoon if you're in that full sunshine, 89 for the high. We'll slip back into the 70s by about 8 o'clock tonight, heading for a low of 63. Mostly sunny and hot again Tuesday afternoon. The high bounces right back up to about 89 again. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
You and I might have something in common. Back pain. I can tell you where I go for help. Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine, hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40, 314-644-0885. EsquireSportsMedicine.com. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit Vincent'sJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
By President Trump's executive order, Antifa is now a domestic intelligence causing chaos everywhere. We currently have no federal law regarding domestic terrorism, so it's not sure how the executive order can be carried out. And Trump critics point out Antifa is not really an organization, just an ideological movement. Pardon me, your ideological movement just threw a firebomb into a police station. Yeah, that's kind of activity. Well, possibly under the RICO Act, there could be investigations about funding for domestic violence, such as Antifa. A recent report, $3 million to U.S.-based groups dedicated to violence. In fact, 23 million of that went to just 7 groups based right here in the USA. You want to guess the name of some of them? Well, start with the A's. No, you got one. You got one already. Good. We're taking action because this is a clear and present danger.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Has been my sponsor. I've never mentioned their duct cleaning services. Allergy season is here, and Wellington crews clean air ducts daily in homes and commercial buildings, also cleaning air handling units and diffusers in commercial facilities. Why? Well, because people will see black dirt and mold on the vents, or they are actually suffering from allergies. Don't be fooled by low-cost duct cleaning providers saying they charge only per vent, because once they get on site, the price will skyrocket. Wellington does not do this, never has. Wellington will give you an estimate, and you say Larry Connors, and immediately you get a 20% discount. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 314-644-4930. Make your home and business better, safer with Wellington. Be well with Wellington.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380. Paid for by U.S. Med.
News, analysis, opinion.
National Guard troops posted around the district.
We are removing many criminals from the streets.
And 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night.
Hey Gabe.
Yes, sir.
Gabe.
Yeah.
We might get our shutdown.
No way.
We might get our shutdown.
No way.
The countdown's on.
I'm so excited.
It might actually happen. Yes. All right, we're joined now by Congressman Bob Onder, who might be mad at me for starting to say like that. I don't know. But Congressman Bob, it's good to chat with you again. Okay, you guys did your part in the U.S. House. You passed a funding bill. I mean, basically, it just status quo keeps things going.
Yeah.
But we're looking at basically, 30 hours, 32 hours from now, we're looking at the possibility that some parts of the government might shut down, and suddenly millions and millions and millions and millions of Americans will realize that it doesn't affect their lives.
Yeah, good morning, guys. It's great to be back. I think that's 100% correct. I think that the Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, are spoiling for a shutdown. We know that because they are making ridiculous demands. All this continuing resolution would be to provide funding for government to continue as usual at spending levels that already exist, which I might add are already obscenely too high.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. They're essentially Biden-era spending levels because we've not done anything but a continuing resolution since the Biden administration. And, they're making ridiculous demands. In return for just 7 weeks of keeping the government open, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are demanding that we spend hundreds of billions of dollars giving welfare and Medicaid for illegal aliens, extending COVID-era subsidies forever, a half, and committing to ending all cutting of spending through rescission bills like we did earlier this summer. So each one of those four things is a complete non-starter. President Trump will be meeting with the House and Senate Democrat and Republican leaders today. I don't see anything coming out of there because Chuck Schumer's Democrat base was very angry at him for supporting the CR back in the spring, and are all in the hands of the president and Russ Vought at the Office of Management and Budget. And I just say that if Chuck Schumer liked Doge, he's really going to love a government shutdown.
Morning, Bob. Gabe here. So,
Morning, Gabe.
Does a shutdown mean what it used to mean politically? Because it seems to me that having gone through the shutdown that happened during the Obama administration,
And
a lot of
Clinton one before that,
and Clinton one before that, a lot of us have seen it, and we were like, yeah, this is a nothing burger. So then there's no political price to be paid for nothing burgers usually. So it does a government shutdown these days in 2025 actually have the same political effect as it used to?
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of sky is falling. I think folks confuse sometimes shutdown with the debt limit. What doesn't happen during a shutdown? No one loses their Social Security check or other government payments they might be eligible for. Veterans benefits continue. Hospitals and doctors can still bill and be paid by Medicare and Medicaid. The military continues to function. What does happen traditionally is that many government employees deemed non-essential are furloughed. They basically end up getting extra paid vacation because they always get paid after the shutdown ends. But the thing that's different this time is that the Trump administration, the Office of Management and Budget, Russ Vought, they've made very clear that this time we're not just going to furlough non-essential workers. We're going to really look at those that don't fulfill the mission that President Trump and we Republicans were elected to accomplish. So instead of furloughs, we're going to be giving pink slips and government workers who aren't essential to the mission of our government and of Trump administration policy. They're going to be let go permanently, and that's going to make Chuck Schumer and his supporters much less happy than it will you and me.
Yeah, I mean, the only effect that these people have on my life, from what I can tell, is every other week when I look at my paycheck deductions and I'm getting taxed to pay for them. And so that's one of the things I think a lot of people are realizing right now.
Yeah, and under Biden, more IRS agents were hired so they can, harass you and try to get even more out of that paycheck. So yeah, I don't think many of us will miss the bureaucrats who might try to micromanage our lives from Washington D.C.
Yeah. Now, Bob, let me ask you about the escalation that we're seeing in political violence. I mean, obviously, we're a few weeks now from the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and we're still kind of assessing what kind of impact that's going to have on politics and society. Obviously, now we've got the Antifa violence ramping up. We've got we don't know what this attack on a Mormon church in Michigan was motivated by, but we're seeing, at least seemingly, an increase in violence for political or cultural or other reasons. That's the definition of terrorism. What's it going to take to get a handle on this and get everybody back to deciding stuff at a ballot box or over coffee or beers when we have debates around our community? What's it going to take to rein in this violence? Because I'm looking at some of the video from Portland and Chicago and all of these places and the attacks on ICE, and I'm thinking, I'm glad that the federal agents are now freed up to get rough if they have to. But at the same time, I don't want to see this in our country. It's hard to look at it and realize that's in the United States of America.
Yeah, it is really disappointing that at least one side of our debate in our country seem to believe that the ends justify the means, that violence is a way to solve political disagreements, or probably more accurately, when they don't get their way at the ballot box or in court or at the Supreme Court, they lash out and become violent. We, of course, are now all very familiar with the Charlie Kirk assassination, the Nashville trans shooter, the trans shooter in the Catholic church up in Minneapolis, and now, of course, this attack on an LDS church. But one thing that's easy to forget is after the Dobbs decision overturning Roe versus Wade was overturned, there were over 200 attacks on pro-life pregnancy care centers and on churches. And the Biden Justice Department did nothing whatsoever. Instead, they were busy arresting peaceful pro-life protesters and investigating Catholics and moms who went to school board meetings. So there is politicized violence, but there has also been politicized law enforcement aimed at the left's perceived political enemies, and that's got to stop. And I believe the Trump administration and the Department of Justice and the FBI under Kash Patel are going to address the real violent threats, the real political violence in this country, instead of going after Joe Biden's enemy list.
In the wake of the brain fart there. In the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination, you kind of mentioned that as being one of those sort of turning points. We've got Turning Point USA, the chapter at Mizzou, seeing a massive surge in new members and interest. Do you think this is kind of a flash in the pan in reaction to that tragedy, or is this going to have some sort of staying power in the movement among young people?
Yeah, Gabe, I think there will be staying power. Of course, too many of our young people have been indoctrinated by the Marxist and transgender ideologies of the day that too often are promoted in our schools and certainly online. But there are many, many, many young people who haven't bought it and who hunger for the truth. There are many, many young people who are returning to their faith. And I believe that Turning Point USA, more than anything, represented a seeking of the truth. Yes, Charlie and Turning Point are conservative and pro-religious political entities, But I think more than anything, Charlie's relentless discussion, interaction, discourse with people, even who disagreed with him, especially people who disagreed with him, that seeking of the truth is something young people crave. I think we're going to see it. We're going to see a growth in MU's Turning Point chapter. We're going to see new chapters in high schools in St. Charles County, and I think it's going to continue. I really do. I haven't seen anything like this since I'm dating myself here, but Ronald Reagan in 1980 and the conservative revolution then. But I really think in a lot of ways this is bigger than the 80s Reagan revolution. I think it's going to really bear fruit.
Hey, Bob, real quick before we let you go here, this week with the whole spending debate and stuff, what are the things we need to be watching for? So I'm guessing Monday, Tuesday are going to be obviously the key days because, the deadline is at the end of this month, calendar month here. So what specifically should we be looking for and when?
Yeah, I think the big thing will be the meeting today between President Trump and Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Speaker Johnson, and Leader Thune. I think we'll see after that meeting. My prediction is we'll see Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, storm out and say President Trump won't give us all the goodies we're asking for, and they're terrible people, and Republicans are trying to kill people. That's, I think, what we'll see, and I think we will see a shutdown because I think Schumer needs one to appease his political base. He took a lot of heat with the previous continuing resolution, and as modest as this continuing resolution is, just extending government funding for 7 more weeks, and while we work out a budget according to regular order, according to the law. Despite that, I think Schumer will continue to make unreasonable demands. So I think there will be a shutdown. So that will happen when the day ends on Tuesday.
All right, Congressman Bob Onder, as always, great chat with you, Bob. Thanks so much for the update.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Now, when do you think a bee sting, and how do you think a bee sting could possibly inspire something good? What? Yeah, I will tell you about this coming up on Tell Me Something Good right after this news break.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for the great Window World. Just over the last 20 years of Window World being in St. Louis, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of more than 76,000 customers in St. Louis. Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today at 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my good friend Harry Parker and the ultimate seafood dining experience at Gulf Shores, GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com. Gulf Shores offering a unique dining experience with a vast, mouth-watering menu of all of your favorite delicious dishes, something for everyone's taste or palate. 3 convenient locations, Edwardville, Creve Coeur, and St. Peter's. Dine in, carry out. They've got a food truck, too. Friendly staff. Looking forward to seeing you, making your dining experience one you will remember. Gulf Shores, restaurantandgrill.com.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right, we got a lot of intense stuff that we're going to get to in the news dump here after the information segment, just a little bit. But 7:50 on a Monday, Gabe, I need you to tell me something good, please.
Tell me something good.
A research team at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities demonstrated a groundbreaking process that combines 3D printing, stem cell biology, and lab-grown tissues to provide spinal cord injury recovery.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff, and it's a really big deal with the spinal cord injury because currently there's no way to completely reverse the damage and paralysis from severe spinal cord injuries. And a major challenge to the death of nerve cells and the inability for nerve fibers to regrow across the injury site. So this new research tackles this problem by building a bridge that bypasses the damaged area.
Oh, okay.
So you just basically go around it. Now, the research team created a unique 3D printed framework for lab-grown organs called an organoid scaffold. I didn't even know this thing existed. It's kind of wild.
Organoid?
Organoid. An organoid scaffold.
Okay.
Now they use and this scaffold has microscopic little channels in it, and the channels are then populated with, okay, now stick with me here, spinal neural progenitor cells. So basically, they're just adult stem cells that are capable of becoming spinal cord tissue, essentially. So they use the 3D printed, and quote, we use the 3D printed channels of the scaffold to direct the growth of the stem cells, which ensures the new nerve fibers grow in the desired way, said Gubam Han, who's a PhD, a former University of Minnesota mechanical engineering researcher and first author of the paper published in Advanced Healthcare Materials, a peer-reviewed scientific journal. So
bottom line, somebody who's partially paralyzed could get movement and control back.
It's entirely possible. This is entirely possible, and the research is going into this to make that happen. So in a cohort of the rat subjects who had with the spinal injuries, the process was able to seamlessly integrate new nerve cells into the host spinal cord tissue over time, leading to significant functional recovery. So while the research is in its beginning stages, obviously with the rats, it offers a new avenue of hope for those with spinal cord injuries.
Wow, that's amazing.
Tell me something good.
A Virginia lottery winner immediately donated the entire sum of her $150,000 winnings to 3 personally important charities.
Okay.
So the first $50,000 gift. So she donated all $150,000. So $50,000 went to the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration. So this is an organization that supports research into early onset dementia.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So very important to her. The second gift was made to Shalom Farms, which is based in Richmond. This organization strives to create richer food opportunities to underprivileged residents and low-income earners. So food safety is one of those other things, apparently. It's very important to her. And then the third $50,000 gift was given to the Navy Marine Relief Society, providing several programs and services such as educational support to assist active duty and retired sailors and Marines and their families in financial need.
So that was her whole winnings.
The whole winnings.
Wow.
It just went off to charity. So this makes for a much better story than the multi-million-dollar winners who go bankrupt after a year high roll.
Yeah.
Tell me something good.
Now, the animal kingdom has long been the source of inspiration for all manner of technology. So now, again, in South Korea, where a new drug delivery method has been modeled after the bee sting. So this is interesting. Patients who suffer from chronic conditions often require continuous injections of drugs, often quite painful and inconvenient. To address this, researchers from South Korea have developed new wearable microneedles that behave the way a bee's stinger does. So if you remember, running to your mother after getting stung in the park, and she's got to pull the whole back half of a
scrape it off with like a credit card or something, because if you squeeze it, it gets worse.
Exactly, because and she would explain to you, it keeps delivering venom even after separating from the bee's thorax, right? It pulses. That's the way it works. And this technology, called electrospun web microneedles, was developed at Chung'an University and managed to deliver drugs continuously through the skin without causing discomfort, because they're microscopic, so they don't have the same sting as what you get from the bees. In animal models, the system enhanced drug absorption while ensuring comfort. So in the future, the team aims to extend the applications of this new technology to a wide range of chronic disease, allowing more patients to receive effective long-term treatment without the fear or discomfort of needles.
All right.
Tell me something good.
All right, now to help you plan to have a good week, Tuesday is National Hot Mulled Cider Day. So,
if you do that right, that is some delicious stuff right there.
Oh yeah, you
Absolutely.
get your cinnamon, a little cardamom, and some star anise in there, and ooh boy. All right, and also the alcohol. Wednesday is National.
Well, you can do it with.
You can do it.
You can do a non-alcoholic version. I don't know why you would, but you can do it.
Well, why? Wednesday is National Fire Pup Day. So give the Dalmatian at your local firehouse a good belly rub.
okay.
Yep. And Thursday is National Custodial Workers Recognition Day. So, I had a favorite janitor back in the day, back in my school days. So definitely deserves some appreciation.
Can I jump in?
Please do.
There's a crew that comes in a couple times a week
Yeah.
here at the radio station. And it's interesting because even when they come in and you're like, hey man, how's it going? That surprises so many custodial crew because people treat them like they don't exist.
Yeah, they treat them like they're invisible.
This is part of your operations of your business, man.
Mhm.
This is an important job.
Yeah,
So
really.
I'm glad that there's somebody. I mean, it may sound silly and somebody can make a lot of jokes, but seriously, people treat people who are literally keeping part of your business running like they're not there. So don't do that.
It's terrible. They definitely recognize them, especially because they're doing a job you're sure not doing, right?
Yeah.
And let's see, Friday is National Techies Day. It's celebrating all the eggheads that make your smart devices smart.
It's going to be insufferable here on Friday, isn't it? Isn't it?
Hey, now to be fair, the true techies, they're just head down in front of like 4 screens someplace in a dark building someplace underneath the server.
They don't even know they have a day.
They don't even know they have a day. So, but send them an email because that's the only way to contact them to let them know that you appreciate that they keep your smart devices actually smart. And today is National Coffee Day.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to go. So we should have put a little extra oomph in our Kofifi dance.
We
I guess.
should have, yeah.
But be on the lookout. There are plenty of deals out there for all your caffeinated needs. So just do a search. Do a search for National Coffee Day. Some location near you has got a free coffee
A
for
good
you.
old coffee, like obviously we love Mario's.
Yes,
around
Mario's
here.
got
They
some.
have great coffee there. Caldi's good coffee if you're in a different part of the area. I mean, there's just a lot of good ones out there. But you know what? This would be a good day. Go to your local.
Yes.
Your local coffee place. Don't worry about the chain place. Go to your local place. That'd be a great way to
I bet they got a deal for you.
Yep.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. That's 800-439-7851.
News, analysis, and opinion.
With these new cheating maps, a Democrat vote in California will be worth 8 times a Republican vote.
If you are a terrorist, what do we do with ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorists? We have drones that take them out from the sky.
Every boatload of any form of drug that poisons the American people is an imminent threat.
This is what it looks like when you have the will in the Oval Office with President Trump.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Bernie Bennett. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats are facing heat for their shifting stance on a government shutdown threat. Senate Minority Leader Schumer and his caucus have further dug into their position this week, that in the week that Congress has been away from Washington, and they appear ready to deny the needed votes to avert a partial government shutdown by September 30th. Senate Majority Leader John Thune tells the Salem Radio Network that Senate Democrats are committed to standing in the way of President Trump's domestic agenda.
The radical left they just want to blow anything up that has anything to do with President Trump. It is this Trump derangement syndrome.
Senator Thune says the Democrats' obstruction strategy is sure to backfire on them.
They're, taking what I think are pretty bizarre steps, and frankly, steps that I think are not smart politically for them, but they can't see. They're just blinded by the hatred.
The bill has already passed the Republican-controlled House and will keep the government funded for several more weeks. This is Town Hall. On the eve of meeting with the U.S. President Donald Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is working on a new ceasefire plan with the White House, but details are still being sorted out. Netanyahu has come under heavy international pressure to end the war, especially during the ongoing offensive in Gaza City. The death toll in the Israeli-Hamas war has topped 66,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry. Netanyahu is headed to the White House today for talks with President Trump, and as key Western allies recognize a Palestinian state. President Trump is expected to unveil new details of a new plan to help bring the conflict to order and bring an end to the conflict in Gaza. That meeting should take place in the 11 a.m. hour this morning, and then later in the afternoon, the president will meet with Senate Democratic leaders and Republican leaders to discuss the possibility of a government shutdown. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wronged coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
October just 2 days away now, but boy, fall temperatures nowhere in sight. We are stuck in a warm and, yep, you guessed it, dry weather pattern. Sunny skies today, hot this afternoon if you're in that full sunshine, 89 for the high. We'll slip back into the 70s by about 8 o'clock tonight, heading for a low of 63. Mostly sunny and hot again Tuesday afternoon. The high bounces right back up to about 89 again. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michaels Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michaels has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michaels Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, St. Louis.
Will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
Okay, there is a lot going on here around the country and around the area. A madman attacks a church. We don't know why yet, but Gabe, none of this makes any sense just on the preliminary, what we know part of this.
Yeah, I used the word bizarre earlier
Yeah.
to describe this, and I think that's the only apt word I can find.
Denotatively, that is the perfect word,
Mhm.
without a doubt. Also, I'm starting to think this whole Doge thing was just for show.
Yep, it's a Doge and Pony show.
Yeah, and a St. Louis County suburb seems to be determined to steal a lot of property and just hand it over to somebody else because redevelopment. I hate it when city governments do this. All right, 8:06 right now. Let's go and dump some news on you.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Got to be accurate.
See, I was accurate down to
Yeah.
the second on that. All right. Okay. It is official, at least for now. Missouri has new congressional district boundaries starting with the 2026 elections. Governor Mike Kehoe signed that new map into law on Sunday. But here's the thing. The map faces both a legal challenge and a referendum effort that seeks to require voter approval of the new map. So these are two separate things.
Right.
There's the lawsuit saying
Mhm.
that this map is bad and illegal and whatever. And we talked to Tim Jones about that earlier today. That'll be up on our podcast in a bit. And he points out that there is a chance that this could have some teeth and could actually delay or stop this new map from going into place.
Sadly, just because of the ideological makeup of the courts right now.
Right. Now, the other part is a referendum that the left wants to put on the ballot. And here's the thing. Here's how it would work, basically in a nutshell.
Mhm.
They want a referendum that would require voter approval of the new congressional maps. Okay. If they get enough verified signatures to put this on the ballot by
Mhm.
Missouri law,
Mhm.
the new maps would be on hold until after that is decided.
Right.
Here's what that really means. That means that the 2026 elections would be based on the current congressional districts,
Right.
not the new ones that were just signed into law, but the current ones. If voters approve it, then the new maps would go into effect in 2028. If voters reject it, the maps would stay the same until after the next census at the end of the decade.
Right.
So either way, the left could hold on to one Democratic seat if they get enough signatures to put this on the ballot.
It's a very smart strategy, really, because it kind of forces the system to play into their hands there. But that only happens if you sign up or if
Right.
they get enough signatures to put this on the ballot.
And they'll say something like fair maps or something like that. That's
Yeah.
what they're going to be asking when they're doing their petitioning.
So another decline to sign campaign here.
Mm-hmm.
Do not sign this.
Well, if you want the Republicans to get another seat, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, that's basically what it's at. Is the left wants to stop this. So,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, we're going to talk about this in more depth here around 8:20 here. A gunman crashed his pickup truck into a Mormon church in Grand Blanc, Michigan, Sunday, and then got out and opened fire. He killed 4 people. He injured at least 8 others and then set the building on fire. ATF Detroit special agent in charge, James Deere, tells reporters that agents actually found devices that could have played a part in that attack that were pre-planted around the building.
I will confirm that there were some suspected explosive devices that were located. But as far as using them to initiate the blaze, I can't say that.
Okay, so the murderer is he's identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford. He was from a nearby town. He got into a shootout with police shortly after that, and he was killed. So let's go into more depth on this because essentially we're going to know a whole lot about the guy probably by the end of the day, but right now we just don't know much about him. And what we do know doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So bizarre. Okay. A federal mediator is now involved in the Boeing strike. Negotiations resumed today in an effort to end the 2-month-long strike by about 3,200-ish workers who are members of the local chapter of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers Union. The union's already rejected significant pay increase offers, and they say they want a deal similar to what Boeing workers get in Seattle, where the cost of living is much, much higher. And you can understand because in St. Louis, they make military jets, why the federal government says we've got a vested interest in getting in here and trying to resolve this. But interestingly, Gabe, the quotes I've seen from the union representatives in the local media, they're not happy about this.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen the typical, the usual suspects come out to support this action the way we've seen in the past. Because usually what will happen is a union will declare a strike. There will be you'll get the B-roll of the picketers, and then you'll get several individuals of some sort of high level, government officials or some sort of socially
leftist
activists who are well known, and they will come out. They'll address the crowd. They'll probably be behind some podium that's been set up there. Solidarity, brother. Or they'll be making some sort of supportive statement on a news show or something like that. That'll make the rounds. I haven't seen any of that.
The other comrades have not spoken up.
Yeah, the workers of the world are not uniting around this effort here.
I think there are people who are on the left around St. Louis who are looking at this aerospace and machinist union going, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to work out for you guys.
I mean, not even Josh Hawley has shed tears for them. And boy, what's that going to take? Man, that tell you. All right. It looks like at least some of those Doge cutbacks are not going to be permanent after all.
Oh, yeah. It's infuriating.
Hundreds of laid off federal employees are being called back and offered their jobs again.
Workers in the General Services Administration were given the chance to return to work after being laid off during the Trump administration's DOGE cuts earlier this year. The GSA manages government buildings, and its workforce has been understaffed for months. Furthermore, the administration has walked back plans to slash its real estate portfolio. An official said because of understaffing and internal turmoil, 131 leases expired without the government actually vacating the properties. Greg Clugston, the White House.
We've been kind of expressing our frustration here is that Doge comes in and Elon Musk and his team, back when we hated, Teslas, they found nearly $1 trillion in things that were redundant or wasteful or just not necessary.
Yep.
And
they made some suggestions.
A few billion have been cut, but in the grand scheme of things, really not that much.
Absolute drop.
The deep state, the administrative state, is winning right now.
They are absolutely winning, and the thing is, the pushback that we're seeing, particularly this idea that the office, what was it, Office of Land Management or something like that. Yeah. It's like we've been understaffed for months ever since those cuts.
That was the point.
It's like and the thing is, by understaffed, they just mean the people who are left don't want to work.
Yeah.
So bring back the other people.
Right. So, whether this is sabotage from the bureaucratic state,
which is, I think,
which is probably the case. The reality is, by calling people back, the deep state's winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Republicans, this is completely on you. I'm not going to blame President Trump on this. I think this is Congress.
Yes, because if Congress had codified those cuts, we wouldn't even be having this discussion, because they wouldn't have the money to pay to rehire workers.
Right. Exactly.
By the way, just wanted to really quickly go back to that the Boeing strike issue. The difference in cost of living between Seattle and St. Louis, I looked it up. 100%.
Oh gosh.
You'd have to make twice as much in Seattle to live like you live in St. Louis.
Yeah, of course. All right. Speaking of Congress here, of course, we've got the so-called government shutdown that's going to happen the end of tomorrow. South Dakota Congressman Dusty Johnson was on Sunday Night in America on Fox, and he has submitted a proposal to prevent the parts of the government that would be affected from shutting down.
My bill, along with Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, would just say, listen, if you need a little extra time, we're going to hit pause. We're going to give you 2 more weeks, a 14-day CR. Spending doesn't go up. It's not a win for the Democrats. Spending doesn't go down. It's not a win for the Republicans. It just gives you a little more time to do your gosh darn job.
Oh, geez. I'm so sorry about that language, everybody.
Gosh,
oh,
that's a lot. That's taking us to a whole other level.
Let's simmer down there, Dusty. Geez. I mean, my goodness, we mean for this to be a family-friendly show.
That was our intent.
And the whole thing's just gone down.
Yeah, the heck.
The heck, yes. All right. Okay, the city of Brentwood's government is one step closer to stealing the property of several businesses. Late last week, a judge ruled against the small businesses along Manchester Road who sued to try to stop the city's eminent domain effort. The government is working to seize the businesses and then redevelop that part of Manchester with a hotel and new office space and different retail businesses. So take the ones that are already there, locally owned, locally run, and just give it to somebody else who's going to have a newer, fancier, shinier one. The businesses are being represented by the Institute for Justice, which says they are going to appeal.
We need a new Supreme Court ruling on the use of eminent domain.
Yes,
we really do, because it has been abused to the hilt everywhere, just to basically to steal private property from individuals.
100%. Yep. All right. The Cardinals end the season getting swept by the Cubs in Chicago. Final score on Sunday was 2-0. They finished 78-84 on the year, and it is likely next year's team is going to look very different than the one we saw on the field this year. I think they are going to be cleaning house, and don't expect the top pitchers to be back.
And all at once depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now! I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. Get up, in case you hear the alarm.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long have you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
This December 13th, join Wreaths Across America at Belle Reve Gardens Cemetery as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. Help us lay remembrance wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes. Sponsor a wreath, volunteer, or bring your family to this meaningful tribute to our veterans, because every hero deserves to be remembered. Learn more and sponsor a wreath. Visit NewsTalkSTL.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right. Let's talk about what we know. Let's talk about what we don't know. This is a particularly shocking attack on a church in Michigan that happened yesterday. One, because the visuals of it are just almost overwhelming when you look at that. I guess that was a helicopter shot. I think what that was.
Helicopter or drone, either way.
Whatever it was, but the majority, almost the entire church rooftop in flames. So the building, I'm assuming, burned down basically.
Yeah.
And this was a pretty large church, as in 300-400 people were at the service. Now that's a big church. Remember, the average size church in this country is about 60 or 70 people. That's the average size of a church.
Yeah, that's standard.
And then everybody thinks of a church as being like a mega church or whatever. But the average size is very small.
Yeah.
And so this is a unusually large church, period.
Right.
But it's also particularly big for a Mormon church, for an LDS church. I mean, I know there's a really large one in Chesterfield here, and there's a few others, but for the most part, that brand of church is about the same size as every other type of church out there. So a guy, 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, drove his pickup truck literally through the doors of the church building into I don't know how far he got into the building.
Yeah.
Crashed in, and then started shooting. He killed 4 people. He wounded 8 others. It's almost a miracle that more people weren't hurt. And then he set the building on fire.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out and took off and police chased him, and he ended up in a gunfight with police, and then he ended up being killed too.
Apparently the fire he set, I mean, first of all, they say officials are saying, federal investigators said the fire appeared to have been set with an accelerant of some kind, possibly gasoline, but it was set pretty early on in the whole debacle because, while there were two people who were immediately pronounced dead, they were, I guess, pulled out along with all the other injured as everybody was fleeing. There were two who were found in the rubble from the burning buildings who were found dead from gunshot wounds. So it's just there's a lot of destruction here. I think we're just now wrapping our heads around.
I think it's pretty obvious that he intended to kill every person in that church.
I think so too.
So what we do know, and I'm going to preface this, Gabe, by saying we don't know if this caused what he did.
Right.
Okay. He's got a pickup truck with two big American flags, apparently.
Right.
He's a military veteran.
A Iraq war vet.
Iraq war veteran.
In particular, yes. Served a tour over there.
We still don't know why. And so I'm sure law enforcement is scouring his home and they're going through his social media. They're going through all of his stuff.
Everybody's looking for a manifesto right now, basically.
We're going to have, I'm sure, something in the coming week, but none of it makes any sense.
Not right now.
He doesn't fit the profile of what we have seen in violence towards whether it's politics or houses of worship. And keep in mind, there's been a massive increase in violence towards houses of worship, and they have generally targeted pro-life and Catholic.
Yes, yes.
In addition to obviously the attacks that have happened on synagogues, which are so common now, they generally sometimes don't get.
They don't even make the news. They don't even make the news anymore
because that's how used to it. So Jewish people have been experiencing this for years, and we've had multiple attacks now on Catholic communities, and now we've got a Mormon church that was attacked as well. So these are all attacking houses of faith.
Yes.
And I don't even know if the particular faith or the particular denomination necessarily makes a big difference. Maybe it did in this case. We just don't know right now.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that my wife noticed the other day was that the president of the LDS just recently passed away.
100 years old.
100 years old, recently passed away. A lot of people were taking it as a big blow to the institution. I guess the president's a really big deal. So there's no apparent connection just yet,
right?
But it is,
and there may not be,
there may not be.
I don't know,
but it's coincidental that it just happened yesterday, or I should say the day prior to the events of the shooting.
Right now, here's the intellectually sound way to look at this.
Yeah.
Everything is coincidental until we're able to connect the dots beyond any reasonable doubt.
Yes. Yes.
So, for instance, the fact that he's an Iraq war veteran, does that make a difference? No idea. Was that why he did it? I don't know.
Who knows?
Did he have a beef with the Mormon faith, LDS faith, or that particular church? We have no idea.
Right.
No idea whatsoever. Is he LGBT? We don't know.
Don't know.
We have nothing to say one way or the other. So right now we have something that is outside of the pattern as far as we know.
Yeah, because for the last 10, 15 years, it's been leftist violence, basically.
Right.
Like just call it what it is.
And maybe this is that, but there's no evidence of it right now.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest.
Right. And the thing is, a lot of the indicators that we would typically look for aren't there, and or they're reversed. You know, the giant the pickup with the giant American flags. That's a negative indicator of the usual patterns that we've seen, right? So like there's a lot here. There's a lot here, and also there's also nothing here because we don't know anything. We don't know for sure what the motive is. And so look, I think all of these indicators are reasons to ask questions, but they're certainly not reasons to draw conclusions. And I think a lot of people mistake asking questions for drawing conclusions, or they use a question to assert a conclusion. It's like, don't do that. Don't be the guy.
So let's talk about what this means here.
Okay.
In St. Louis.
Grand scheme.
Okay. So right now we are talking to those of you who go to a synagogue and you're Jewish, those of you who go to a parish and you're Catholic or you're Orthodox or you're evangelical Christian, or you go to a Mormon church here in this area. It doesn't matter what particular stripe of faith it is that you have. You've got to talk about protection and security in 2025. You have to.
If you gather into a building on a particular day every week, you should, I guess, consider yourself
Yes.
a potential target for a crazy.
Right.
I think that's the world we're living in right now, which is, it's a sad reality, but it is what it is.
And you've probably got, especially if you are evangelical Christian, you probably have some visitors right now as part of the Charlie Kirk effect.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So you have new people here
New
that you're
faces.
trying to talk to and get to know, and everything that goes with that.
Welcome into the fold. Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if your church or your parish or your synagogue does not have an organized security plan, call your local police or sheriff and ask them if they have a program that teaches you how to do this.
Yes.
And of course, I mean, there's how many counties on both sides of the river that are listening to the show right now. So talk to, many of them have that. And maybe you need to work with a private security consultant and get something. And you may say, but people give their offerings and their tithes and their donations because it wants to go to ministry work. Well, you've got to consider this part of your ministry work. You have to.
Protecting the people who come into your building is part of ministry work. That's why you have locks on your doors. That's why you have security cameras at some of these places. We're just now kind of updating our security camera system at my church. And now we've got to consider, or I should say reconsider, or continue to consider, how to formalize maybe the defense of our congregation. So these are they're uncomfortable conversations that are going to be had, I think, but they need to be. You need to talk to your church leadership about, okay, what are you thinking about? What are you guys discussing about church security? Because it's a real thing in America now. And just to say this, if you belong to Christendom or some variation thereof around the world, you've been experiencing this forever. That's real life.
It's gotten here later than other parts of the world.
Yes.
Well, yeah, absolutely, 100%. We in America don't understand that this is the daily reality for churches in other parts of the world.
Yeah, I think just this past year, like 2,000 Christians in Nigeria have been slaughtered.
Absolutely.
Right. So look, that
not to mention in China.
And in China, you pick a country, pick a country, basically a non-Western country, and
look up Voice of the Martyrs.
Yes,
and you'll see how many Christians are slaughtered every year.
Now, of course, in Western countries, because we're built on a Judeo-Christian sort of basis to our form of government, to our society. It is like I think we've experienced a bit of the home turf advantage for a long time, or at least we felt that way. And we haven't thought about fighting. We haven't thought about these things. We just basically keep our head down. We go to church, we pray, we do our thing, and we go home. No big deal. It's just another Sunday morning, as the easiest Sunday morning.
And let me follow up when you said it's an uncomfortable conversation, and that's the huge thing, because one, you're talking about prevention.
Yes,
and nobody in a legitimate church wants to talk about who we're not going to let into the building.
Right.
But you have to. How do you scan somebody that, because you could be wrong and they could just be about to have a breakdown, and that's why they're in a church, and you don't want to remove. I mean, so that's part of the uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
And the second thing is you have to talk about how are you going to neutralize a threat, meaning how are we going to kill somebody in your church
building?
Because it's better to do it in the foyer than to do it in the sanctuary. And and so you can't just look around in 2025 and go, hey, well, Gus is pretty good with a gun. He's a good hunter. Well, he'll, have it. You can't just haphazardly do this for liability reasons, for safety reasons, because, you got to, I mean, I can tell you that the last church that I was a member of, they had a plan.
Yeah.
I was in the meetings with the sheriff. I mean, we had people strategically placed who were armed, trained, credentialed, everything, with the angles set out to minimize any possible collateral damage. And we had to think in those terms.
Yeah.
And so at the last church that my dad was a member of, and after he retired, he's a former police officer.
Right.
He was a former police officer. He was armed. He was one of those that had shifts. He was one of the security because he was well trained.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to have basically a concealed carry instructor.
Yes,
as one of our members of the church, and we just kind of relied on it. It's like, okay, what do you think we should do, kind of thing. It's like, are you good? And understanding what good means.
Right.
It's like, yes, he's good.
Yes.
So then the rest of us were good. Well, he moved.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I think a lot of churches need to deal with this reality. It is the reality now that you're going to have to consider the safety of your parishioners, or your congregants, however you want to call them, people who come through your door, who are there for a legitimate reason, because there may be someone there for a reason just like this guy here in Michigan.
Call the local sheriff or your police department and say, do you have any referrals for me? They will be happy to help you get that conversation started.
And we're still working to save lives here in St. Louis. Find out how you can be a part of it and have a great time while doing so at 8:35.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
October just 2 days away now, but boy, fall temperatures nowhere in sight. We are stuck in a warm and, yep, you guessed it, dry weather pattern. Sunny skies today, hot this afternoon if you're in that full sunshine, 89 for the high. We'll slip back into the 70s by about 8 o'clock tonight, heading for a low of 63. Mostly sunny and hot again Tuesday afternoon. The high bounces right back up to about 89 again. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
Fox News commentary.
A mini Erewhon is coming to NYC, but it'll cost you big bucks to enjoy. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
LA's cult favorite grocery store Erewhon is making its NYC debut, sort of. It's a mini Erewhon opening as a tonic bar inside Kith Ivy, a new private wellness and paddle club in the West Village. There will be no grocery store aisles, just the famously expensive smoothies and juices. But here's the catch. You can't even walk in unless you're a member, and that'll cost you $36,000 to join, plus $7,000 a year. That's $43,000 just to sip and be seen in person. Originally, the concept was even more exclusive, but community backlash forced developers to drop the rooftop bar concept. Still, residents say the whole project feels a bit tone deaf given how many struggle to pay for food in general. But good news for peasants, you don't need a membership to at least try it. Erewhon drinks will be available for delivery if you're within range. It sounds a little ridiculous to me, but whatever floats your smoothie. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station. This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
On the nerd that is going under, like
hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, save lives. Do it at a party. Wait, what? Can you do that? All right, let's put something on your calendar here. It is coming up on 8:35. Mike Ferguson here, joined by Levi Hart from our friends over at Reach Reproductive Health. You've got a great. I want to get an update on obviously the work that's being done. We've tried to keep everybody up to date on the kind of metamorphosis of Reach after everything fell apart with the with what happened, what used to be here in St. Louis, and what you all are rebuilding on such a fast timeline. But you've got you're now to the point where you're saying, all right, it's time to bring in some money.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you haven't already got a lot of people who are donating, but you've got a gala fundraiser coming up, and these things are a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, Mike. It's our first one. We're a new organization, so it's great to get everybody together. Not to mention, I mean, the vast majority of all of our donors and church supporters, et cetera, we're supporters of Thrive.
Right.
So I think it's really cool for all of them to be able to come together as well. And because it was a really hard hit for them when the pregnancy center they had supported for so long shut down. So now to be a part of Reach that's filled that gap, I think everyone's real pumped to be able to come together and say, okay, here's how we're going to come empower parents, see babies saved, see the families coming to Christ. We're going to keep doing it. And obviously welcome to people who never supported Thrive, and this is kind of a new thing. But so really, if you want to get involved in the pro-life movement in such a way to where you are directly helping parents who otherwise would have had an abortion, coming to this gala is a great way to do it.
Yeah. And this is also, we'll get into this in a couple minutes. This isn't, you do something very, very different than what the political activist groups do. We're talking about face-to-face working with the women in crisis pregnancies and the men who are involved as well. But we'll get into that update here in just a minute. But let's talk about the gala that's coming up. Where and when and what's it going to be like?
Yeah. So it is on November 6th at the Commons in Chesterfield at 6 p.m. So 6 to 7's a happy hour. So you don't have to, you could show up at 6:45, 7 o'clock. That's when the program actually starts. But if you just want to come in and mingle around 6 o'clock. And we're going to keep it pretty short, keep it snappy. You know what I mean? I personally don't like going to these things when they last like 3 or 4 hours, so once program actually starts, 90 minutes, come enjoy a nice dinner, with your husband or wife or family and friends. You can get a whole table and invite friends to be a part of it. There's going to be some inspiring speakers there. Matt Burke, he was a 6-time Pro Bowler and real strong pro-life guy. He was in the news about 10 years back because he refused to go to the White House. He had won the Super Bowl, refused to go to the White House because Obama had just prayed some sort of blessing over Planned Parenthood, et cetera. But he's the real inspiring speaker. John Hancock's actually our MC. So come out, and I think you'll really be inspired. I think you'll leave. What I've heard from a lot of folks is I kind of live in this area, of life, just the pro-life movement. It's what I talk, eat, sleep, and breathe. But what I've noticed is folks that come, and we've had other events besides this, but folks that come to these events leave just more supercharged in the mission, because it really gets them in front of it. Kind of like if you were to go to like the March for Life in DC or something like that, because you go there and you're like, oh, wow, what's going on here is a lot bigger than I thought it was. And there's a lot more that I could do and be a part of.
Now, is this where we were for the church meeting, the last one? We're at the same place?
Yeah. When we packed the house for that church engagement lunch. Yeah. So same place.
Yeah. This is technically in Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in Chesterfield at a place called the Commons. Yeah. It's actually a location that Chesterfield Press, they bought a Gold's Gym and converted it to a community center. Really blessed to be able to have it there.
Yeah, it's that's a perfect layout for something like this. So at this point, still need to get tickets. I mean, this is a gala, so dust off your nice shoes for this. But where do they need to go? Then let's get into some of the updates on the work that's being done, because all of this is designed to raise money so that you can help the people who are in a crisis situation.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can go to outreachforlife.org and get your tickets there. So outreachforlife.org. If you forget that and you just type in Reach Reproductive Health or something on Google, you'll find our patient site, but you'll see a place where it says give. That'll direct you to our partner website, and it'll essentially still get you to the same place.
Yeah, but that's the direct one, outreachforlife.org.
Yep, that's it.
That. And there are still tickets and seats available?
There are seats available.
Okay.
Yeah, so get on there and grab those. It is packing up pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, I mean, people will look at this and say, ooh, gala function, that, obviously, that's to raise money. I mean, let's not shy away from it. That's what you're asking people to do is give money. Now you get your dinner, you get your mingling, get your networking and all that sort of stuff. They are fun. They're a good time. But let's talk about what the money's going to be done with it, because what we're asking people to do here is not just say, I'm pro-life because I did a hashtag on Twitter, because I reposted something on Facebook from, some activist group, because I voted for the pro-life. That's all great. That's all great. But what we're talking about here is saying, does it actually mean enough for you to put skin in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the families that, hid the Jews during the Holocaust. Did you really, put your money where your mouth is? Did you really step out and do something? And a lot of folks, like, to be fair, don't realize there's a lot more they can do.
Yeah.
And this really is a golden opportunity. So this is a way to come in and invest financially, but even coming to the gala, I mean, yes, it's a fundraiser, but learning more about what Reach is doing, and how we're empowering parents to choose life for their babies. I mean, literally every week we have men and women who are coming in who want to have an abortion that are leaving and choosing not to. And I'm talking like crazy stories, Mike.
Right.
I mean, we've seen like 13-year-olds, so like, you just don't know what's going to come through the door. And the money that you give enables us to do that hands-on work. I mean, we are a nonprofit. That's how it happens. And not only that, if you are looking to volunteer, we have everything from behind the scenes work to hands-on. We could literally train you to be in front of a patient, and do the patient advocacy work before they get handed off to a nurse. We have volunteers that are doctors, that are nurses. I mean, obviously we have our staff. So there really is real work in which you can get involved in right now.
Yeah. And one of the chief complaints and accusations and objections to the pro-life movement, and it's false, but one of the things that resonates the most, they say, well, you're just pro-birth. You're not there. Once you have the baby, then you just walk away and you abandon the people. Well, that's not true. First of all, it hasn't been true since day one, but that's what's resonated politically with people. You're not doing the politics of this. You're doing that part that says, not only are we going to walk you through the pregnancy, but we're staying with you to equip you to rear a child, ideally in a family. But if that's not possible, to have, so we're talking about staying with the woman for sure, or the girl, tragically. But then also, if dad is going to be involved, show him how to do it. So we're talking about not doing the politics. We're talking about doing the real life ministry. We're talking about the real life providing that we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. And so, and to hit on the dad side of it, so we really focus on getting the dad there at the first appointment. Because if you can empower him to be a father, because we don't call him dad or father even when he comes in, because he may not be recognizing himself that way yet. But if we can move him into that space and empower him to be the man that God made him to be, it's probably going to even do more than the ultrasound, because if you can empower the dad, you're going to empower the mom, because that changes everything. But then, going past that, a lot of bringing them down from that crisis, because typically if someone's going to have an abortion, there's a lot, not all the time, but a lot of times there's a crisis situation here. And even if it's not a crisis, one way or the other, how can you address that space in which in their mind, abortion is the answer? And a lot of times what that is letting them know, like, hey, we have our University of Parenting classes. You're going to be able to come for a whole year. I mean, this is a week-by-week course. You're going to have mentors and volunteers pouring into you. You're going to have kind of a group therapy situation. You're not going to be alone. When you go to this thing, you're going to earn points to be able to get diapers, pack and play, car seats, etc. You name it. And we're going to stick with you for a long time. This isn't going to be a solo journey for you. And not to mention, I mean, even going further than that, is it rent and utilities at the moment that you're struggling with? Okay, we can help you with that. Is it vocational? Like, do you need help with some job placement here? Or do you need help learning to write a resume? Is it educational? Do you need help applying for particular colleges? Do you need to see even what kind of benefits are available to you right now from the government because of the sort of position you're in?
The things that equip somebody to say, I can do this.
Absolutely. So that's what it is. It's really not get them in the room and try to convince them of our political, moral, or religious worldview, although we have those. but it's not really effective to get people to choose to parent. The way to get them to choose to parent isn't on the spot trying to get them to see that it's wrong. It's really to empower them to choose to parent. Now, granted, by the time they walk through that and they get an ultrasound, a lot of times they connect the dots themselves. Sure. I couldn't tell you how many people they see an ultrasound and then they're just like, oh, that's a baby. I couldn't have an abortion. That would be murder. Like it's amazing just watching those dots connect. You don't have to say a word. And then they just, gather it together.
I noticed you've used the same word over and over and over again. This is communications guy in me popping up here. You use the word empower.
Yeah.
A lot. And a lot of times we don't think of it that way. We think of charity. We think of ministry. We think of us handing something down.
Yeah.
That's not what empower means. Empower means equipping so that they're stepping up.
Exactly. That's a really good point, Mike. And everything we give should be coming from that mindset, because we all know the last thing you want to do is just see someone be given some sort of handout and nothing changes. Perhaps they feel like they were loved and cared for. And like, I'm all about that, and helping the poor in that way and whatever the situation may look like. But no, like we want to see them empowered to choose life. And even further, we want to see the family unit come together. We want to see the whole family unit plug into the local church, because all of this is going to lead them into, because the end goal here ultimately is not just save a baby. The end goal isn't just to see someone else become a parent and that's it. The end goal is to see a family unit come together and then move into a much healthier life than they would have ever had prior to bringing this child into the world.
Yeah.
So it's all about pushing them forward into that space.
Yeah. Not always possible, but when possible.
Yeah. That's the goal.
Reach, you started the first steps to form Reach after everything kind of, obviously happened with whatever happened with Thrive. This has been not even a year yet.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. So we just incorporated in November.
Yeah.
We got our C3 letter 2 weeks later, and we're a multi-site pregnancy center in St. Louis. So we got to fill the gap where Thrive left.
And you're already saving lives. So this is actually happening. This isn't, here's what we hope. This is, here's what we're doing. Help us continue to do it and save more lives.
Yeah, absolutely. We opened our doors in March. We have a center in North County, a center in St. Charles County. Our mobile medical center is in the city. We got around 20 staff that are out there doing it. And we're seeing patients every day. There's always calls, always walk-ins. It's happening.
Let's give the details on the upcoming gala once again here real quick.
Yes, it's November the 6th at the Commons in Chesterfield. Happy hour starts at 6. The program starts at 7. Outreachforlife.org. Go on there and get your spot, get a table if you want to bring a group of friends. And I promise you will leave feeling empowered in this particular area, rather than just what do I do about abortion in our country, in our state, in our city. You're going to come and be able to see some ways you can do that, even beyond the fundraising.
Appreciate the update again, Levi, as always.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Did Donald Trump and Republicans make everything great again over the weekend? We'll discuss with Senator Jim Talent at 425. At 525, Red State Headlines with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, just to let you know, I've got a pretty good relationship with the Institute for Justice, so I'm going to say confidently I'm going to get one of their folks, I think, on the program here this week to talk about what's happening in Brentwood. You want to look this up. Channel 4's got a very short but concise story on this. City of Brentwood wins in court, and their plan is to just simply take private property from a bunch of local business owners and give that private property, facilitate the transfer. Let's put it that way, because under eminent domain, somebody has to get paid something, but then a court decides not the free market, and they don't allow the property owners the choice. This is one of the things that should never be allowed in our society, is government coming in and saying, you know what, we'd rather somebody else have a business where you are. So we're just going to get rid of it. We're just going to take it away and get rid of you because somebody else is going to generate more taxes. And that's really what we're talking about right now.
Isn't that what the Soviets did?
Yeah, except they would just take it away and not give it to another private. They just take it away and keep it, but this is unfortunately the Kelo ruling all these years ago, when this is what we warned was going to be the case. And I've been in city government. I've talked about being appointed into offices and being elected into offices. And there is a kind of thinking in the municipal government space. There is a municipal government city planner mindset that looks at maps and they judge their success based on who's got the newest, coolest stuff and who generates the most revenue. And that's how they judge success. They don't keep in mind judging their performance as a city government by how much they respect property rights, by how much they respect individual liberties. That's not what they think. They think government is here to plan for something that's utopian and then do whatever it takes, even if that means running roughshod over somebody's individual rights. And let me put it this way. If you don't have property rights, you don't have rights.
Mm-hmm.
Let that sink in for a second. Go back to the worst abuses of human rights in this country's history, which still around the world. And what was denied? Personhood, property rights, access to the market. So if you don't have property rights, you don't have rights. So when government says, no, we're going to give you what we decide is fair market value, so your rights are taken care of. No, they're not. The bait and tackle shop on Manchester right now is being told you're not allowed to continue to do business.
So it's not the fact that these are already failing, potentially about to go bankrupt businesses, that they've
been there for years.
This is just the city planners saying, well, we want to use that location for something else now. So scram.
Something else can be bigger and more prosperous for us.
Nobody should be okay with that.
No, nobody should. Nobody should. And I have been in arguments both when I was in office and when I was not, over the fact people were saying, no, this is a good thing for the community. I'm like, well, wait a minute. So, and what I would do is I would point to something where I'm like, okay, well, you could put a convention center here. Wouldn't that generate a lot more property? Well, I'm pointing at a neighborhood. If the idea is government gets to decide who's worthwhile and who's not, who gets to remain part of the community and who doesn't, what you have is a government that has just different, nicer, fancier shades of a sort of tyrannical approach. When government says we will decide who's allowed to keep their property, not even gatekeeping who can come in, which I think is bad enough. But in this case right here, this is almost a classic case like what you saw with the Kelo versus New London Supreme Court case, which was horribly decided. It was a terrible decision by the Supreme Court, where they said that the city could come in and wipe out your homes, just take it, because somebody promised to build something more profitable for the city. And eminent domain was supposed to be the last resort, only as a necessary evil. And now it's just another tool to be competitive with other cities. Well, we want that hotel. We want that retail space. We want that mixed use space. What's in the way? The people who own the property now and are running their businesses, and in some cases have run it for generations. Now, the part of Manchester they're talking about, yeah, it's a little gritty. Yes. Some people find that charming. Other people don't. The buildings are old. Some of them clearly were not built for the type of buildings there. That doesn't matter. It's theirs. It's not the government's. And the government shouldn't be able to say, well, you had a good run, but you're not allowed to own that property anymore.
Yeah, if I was a small business owner or any kind of business really, and I knew that a government was doing that to the people that already have businesses there, would not build any form of confidence, because what's to say in a couple of years they don't say, oh, hey, here's an even bigger company that we think would be better. Now you can go scram and uproot all the effort, time, and money you put into that.
100%. 100%. If you are a small business owner, if you're a local business owner, are you looking at Brentwood right now? You shouldn't.
No.
Because what you're seeing right now is, well, I'm going to be allowed to purchase land and property, but I only get to keep it as long as City Hall thinks I'm worth keeping around. And if they think somebody else can bring them more tax revenue, they could take it away from me and say, by the way, here's a little check for your trouble. And that's really what we're talking about. So I think every business should consider that before they move somewhere.
Yeah, that's insane that it's not even the case where they are just not keeping their, up on their payments, or maybe it's a huge hazard, like a health hazard. I could somewhat sometimes maybe see that being the thing is, but I just don't understand how anybody in the right mind is not out there saying, hey, whoa, we did not elect you to do this. This is our community. And if you want to boost revenue, then maybe do more festivals, maybe do things to attract more people to come out that way.
Become the better environment to attract the businesses through the free market. I've actually had to make votes on shutting businesses down. I hated it, but it was because they were violating the rights of other people. They were not, and that was an extreme last resort, and you never want to do it. But this approach is absolutely horrific, and it should be a warning to every other business, especially small businesses who are thinking about moving. Look at how the government treats other businesses your size and even smaller. That should be an indication of whether or not you want to set up there or go to some place that's going to actually protect your rights.